and let's get started with the Pitch Perfect webinar and learn how to craft the perfect sales pitch.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining from. I really appreciate your taking the time. I know the expectation of this webinar is to talk about a magic bullet, but as we all know, there is no magic bullet. I want to talk about multiple things, and my objective would be to open your mind to going towards a perfect pitch. However, as you know, the requirement of a pitch will differ. And I do not honestly think that it is about a single pitch. I think a sale happens over multiple pitches. And each pitch has a different objective. But we'll get to that as we progress. What we need to keep in mind is that we first need to figure out what is not the pitch about. So what is it not about? What is a perfect pitch not about? Typically, when we meet someone and we think that we are going to sell our idea, we stay extremely focused on our idea. And because that's really what's sort of bubbling inside us, like that's what's pumping the adrenaline, that's what we are consumed with. And because we are consumed with it, we believe everybody we meet will be equally excited and consumed with that idea. But nothing can be further from truth. So the first thing we need to keep in mind that it is not about you. A perfect pitch is not about you. It's not about me. It's very important to keep it in mind, because like a new parent who is so taken by the young arrival at home about the baby, and everything that the baby is doing is so important and so life-changing, that you'd like to believe that the narrative is about us. And keeping in tune with the two other webinars we had, I have to break it to you that our pitch is not about us. It might sound counterintuitive. Hey, we are going to sell our stuff. That's what these people are here to listen to us about, and so on. I don't think that approach is going to get through. So what else is it not about? It's not about your product. It is somewhat about it, but that comes much later. It is not about your product. It's not about the features. Those features that you sat and crafted, which you thought will make the life of the users heaven, they don't matter. It's not about the service, your focus on the customer. What is your turnaround? That doesn't matter either. It is not about this new pricing strategy that you have come up with. The fact that you are delivering more value, more bang for the buck, doesn't matter. It's not even about your technology or your patents. Because if you see the thread through all of these things that I mentioned, it is we or you. We have to understand that when we are trying to make a perfect pitch, and perfect is notional, if you make it about your story, then you'll have difficulty getting it through. I will discuss a few points in terms of how you could possibly address this. But first, very clearly, very definitively ensure that when you go for your next pitch, it is not about you. You are there, of course, as a part of the story, as a part of the narrative that you build, but it's not about you. It is not even a greatly designed, gorgeous pitch deck. And here I'll digress a bit and talk about the pitch deck. You know, we spend enormous amount of time crafting a pitch deck, and it should be so. I'm not for a moment taking away the need for a extremely succinct pitch deck. Lot of times, and if you look around and read around, you'll find advice that if you leave your pitch deck behind, even without you in the room, that pitch deck should make perfect sense. Yet, it should be succinct. Yet, it should be simple. Yet, it should be gorgeous, and so on. If you have tried to craft one of those decks, you will see it's near impossible. Because as successful examples, the kind of pitch decks that are shown and they're used as demonstrations, these stories, the story of Airbnb, the story of LinkedIn raising money, and you know what I'm talking about. Top 10 decks of all times, if you go and see. These decks are about companies we are extremely familiar with today. And the point at which those decks were presented, the decks were not alone. The decks came with the owner of the deck. So the point I'm making is, no matter how gorgeous your pitch deck is, your pitch deck on its own is not the whole pitch. Your pitch is your deck plus you. And never shortchange that factor. If pitch decks could be written and money could be raised, then nobody would need a presentation. The purpose of a pitch deck is not to sell itself. That would be too easy. If we could figure out a formula, hey, you know what? I start a service. You give me your details. I give you a 10 slide or 12 slide or 20 slide pitch deck. Go and give it to your prospective investor and you get the money. That's not going to happen. Because what investors, what customers, especially in the early days, bet on is you. Time and again, you'll go back and see funds are not raised, products are not sold because of a deck. The products are sold because of the team, because of the founder, because of the people behind an idea. So we should have this very straight. A perfect pitch, which means needs both a deck and you. So what is the perfect pitch about? The perfect pitch is about your customer. Let that sink in for a moment. It sounds again counterintuitive, just like when I was saying that if I say that the perfect pitch is not about you or your product, then what are we selling? But if you step back for a moment and think about it, what is your product and service? Your product and service is basically solving or supplying a requirement which is the customer's need. If that happens, you sell. If that happens, only if that happens, you can sell. No matter how gorgeous your pitch deck, no matter how gorgeous your product, if the need is not there, you can't sell it. So the crux of even before you start thinking or designing a pitch, think about the customer. What does the customer need? And remember, the customer's needs will not come to you in the meeting where you are pitching your solution. Which is why I mentioned, if you remember, and I'll touch upon it later as well, that a sale doesn't come out of a single pitch. There are multiple pitches that happen with different objectives. The final pitch, the objective would be transaction. By the time you reach the final pitch, your objective would be transaction. But before that, the first pitch, and I'll talk about it, what should be the first pitch? I'll talk about that. The first pitch should be literally about understanding the customer's needs. So what would be that pitch? For understanding the customer's need, what should be your pitch? And that will be the perfect pitch for that purpose. So your pitch is linked to the objective. All pitches are not for finishing a transaction. And if we believe that no, we can straight away go in and sell, then there are two things. If it is at all possible, there are two things. One, you're in a commodities business, which means there is nothing really unique about your product. The customer can buy from you, they can buy from 10 other people. And two, you are going to him when his need has been defined, which means I'm going to buy a tire. I can buy it from MRF, I can buy it from Firestone, I can buy it from any number of people. So if you're in that business, there is a possibility that you can skip the other requirements because the person has come in with a defined need and you are pitching to him straight away your product. And at that point of time, what are you pitching on? We will see. We mentioned that pricing, we mentioned your technology, your patents. Possibly you can play on those. You can say, hey, I have this new patent which gives my tires extra grip, yet I'm going to give you at the lowest price, and so on and so forth. But we have to be clear that that is, especially in a B2B scenario, that is a rare situation. After we identify a lead, our first interaction is to figure out a fit. And to figure out the fit, we have to understand the needs. While on this, I want to touch upon Raymond Loewy. Maybe a lot of you would have heard about him. He literally is the father of modern industrial design. And he had this concept called Maya. How people buy. And his concept is Maya. Maya stands for most advanced yet acceptable. You can just Google Maya and you'll find tons of literature on that and lots of very interesting stuff. You should go and check him out. You check Maya or you check Raymond Loewy. Born in 1893, came to US. He was there and he passed away in 1986. Do take a look. So he makes a point which I think is pertinent to talk about here. People like to buy familiar things. People also like to buy surprisingly new things. And this is a sort of an ongoing battle. So when you are introducing something new, you have to provide a familiar face. How do you make familiar surprising? So the sweet spot is between making familiar surprising and surprising familiar. When you are going to the market, understanding the customer's need, positioning your product, you need to keep this in mind that people will resist something which is completely new. And people would like to choose something that is familiar. And trust me, because we have built a fairly new kind of product, we face this challenge every day. When we are talking to people about PitchLink, people either think that we are a marketing automation product like MailChimp, and we say, no, we don't do that. Or we are a content sharing platform like Google Drive or DocSend, and we say, yeah, we do that, but that's only a small part of what we do. Or they think we are like a proposal software, which we are not. So people try to find, when you show them something which is unfamiliar, people try to find a lens through which it will make sense to them. And if you are selling something really new and unique, you have to figure out a way to understand the customer's point of view and show it to them, which makes it familiar yet surprising. You have to, before you start pitching, you have to make sense of who you are pitching to. Because if you don't do that, you will not be able to craft a pitch which will sort of resonate with them. If you are not talking about their needs, if you are not talking about their needs, but you're talking about your features, it's not going to resonate. He's going to wonder, why the hell is he talking about this when I need that? So your first job before you make a sales pitch is to make a pitch to understand what is it that the buyer is buying. You have to understand his needs and motivations. Why does he need it? Is it because if this doesn't happen, his ability to manage his 100 people is at stake, which means the productivity is at stake? Is it because there is a compliance requirement that has come? Government has suddenly passed a law which says that you need to do this, which is why he's in the market to buy it, so on and so forth. So what is the motivation? You have to understand, and that's when you know that what you're selling, whether it is actually meeting that need or not. You have to go deep into the challenges, because that's the time when the buyer starts connecting with you. When you connect with the buyer starts connecting with you, saying, yeah, this person really understands where I am, really understands where my pains are. And don't forget that it's always better to sell a painkiller than a vitamin. It's always better to have a must have than a nice to have. But that's a different discussion. We can go into that later. The other very important thing to remember is, when you are crafting the story, use stories of other customers like this person that you are pitching to. Because people will trust another customer more than they'll ever trust you, no matter what you are saying, no matter what data you show them. if you have like a 10-page document showing extolling the virtues of your product and showing test data and user data and so on, versus a 3-minute video of an existing customer saying why they love your product, you know which one to choose. A bit of tactical idea here. When you're crafting your pitch, you have to craft a message map. What is it that you're trying to say? See, so it is not about cramming all the data in there. It is what will get through. Because remember, in a B2B scenario, rarely you will be able to transact in the first go. So if you're trying to cram things down and putting 30 points in a slide, it is not getting through. So how do you craft a message? I just read about a structure which I'll share with you. And it says, step 1, create a Twitter-friendly headline. So Twitter was 140 characters, now 280 characters, which means letters and gaps. How can you craft a headline which can go into Twitter and can communicate your value proposition? That's how you're building the message map. That's what you're going to communicate to your prospect. You follow it up with 3 supporting data. Now you can ask that a lot of times I use this, a lot of times people use it. It is actually easier to remember things in 3s, and after that you the memory starts sort of fagging. So have 3 simple headlines which is talking about your key benefits, and then follow it up with stories and statistics and examples. So each of the points that you have mentioned, if you say that it is super fast, tell the story of how somebody used PitchLink to duplicate and create a personal pitch in less than 5 minutes. That's my story. How it is easy to personalize a message and record it by reusing a script, by making simple changes of names and companies and recording it in a couple of minutes. So statistics and benefits and stories and examples should follow up. So very brief, to the point headline extolling the virtues, 3 supporting statements, what it can do, and stories and stats following it up. You can also think of it as a tiered presentation. So if you follow David Cummings or any of the startup blogs, you will know that you need to craft multiple messaging. People talk about elevator pitches. I'm not particularly fond of it, but I understand the value of brief, succinct messaging. So can you tell your story in 5 seconds? Can you tell your story in 30 seconds? If you can manage to bring down your story to 5 seconds, 5 seconds means about 15 words. So typically when we do television, we'll say that an anchor can talk for anything between 2.5 words a second to 3.5 words a second, depending upon who is talking and how fast he speaks and so on and so forth. So that's a good benchmark. So if you're trying to do a 15-second pitch, you can speak 5-second pitch, you can speak 15 words. Similarly, in 30 seconds, 150 words. I think the last webinar, Minang sort of held me to it and made me do a pitch, I netted 42 seconds, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can check out that webinar out there. It's out on YouTube. You can just check it. It's a very interesting session. Like we interview entrepreneurs where they can come and pitch about their SaaS on PitchGround. And Shubhankar, actually, I gave him 90 seconds, right? And I switched on the timer right in front of him, and then he completed the pitch in 45 seconds.
42. That's what you
Oh
told me.
man.
Okay, I may be wrong.
That's
But anyway,
probably the
anyway,
fastest pitch ever done by any entrepreneur. I will post it again in the group. Feel free to reach out to us. It's live on our PitchGround YouTube channel, so go check it out.
yeah. So once you have done that, once you have made a very succinct, and this is a process which you need to go over and over and over again, because it is not something you'll reach in one go. Because as the owner of the product or owner of the sales process, you will have a lot more to say, and we like to say more than necessary. It will take me to some other direction. I'll not go there. But suffice to say, if you craft that 5-second and 30-second pitch, you will do very well when you craft it into a 5-minute pitch. And 5 minutes is not a lot of time. So do this succinct messaging and create a tiered presentation. So as you see interest, you can actually expand, but not beyond 5 minutes. And in the 5-minute version, if you can tell a customer story, that is cherry on the pudding. If you can bring in third-party data and testimonial all through your pitches, nothing will resonate more than that. I can keep talking about PitchLink, but if I say, please go and take a look at the review that BJ Jones has left or Raj Nadar has left, these are guys who have bought PitchLink on PitchGround, and after signing up, they have written this. It will carry a lot more value for you than my telling the same thing 100x. And the point I'm also making here is that a perfect pitch, less is more. So the crux is to keep it simple. And how do you keep it simple? By getting to the point fast. You have to quickly get to where you need to come to, and that is the customer's pain. If you have done your research, if your first pitch, which was the discovery pitch, which sort of set the stage for the customer to tell you openly about his problems, sharing his problems, then when you are making the pitch for the sale, get to the point quickly. One point also I would like to mention here is that suppose you are selling to an insurance company, you should talk to other people in the industry. Even if you don't have access to that customer, other people access them, and you know that when you tell somebody, hey, I don't have anything to sell, I just need to understand a few things about your industry, you will possibly get access much better, much faster than when you are setting yourself up for a transaction. So people sense it. So they will not give you access if they sense that you are coming there for a transaction, you're trying to sell them something, but they'll be very open if you make them come to you or you go to them to understand their pain. One of the reasons I do podcasts is for that purpose only, where I can talk to a lot of people and understand what's going on in their industry, what's going on within their circles. So coming back, get to the point fast. And while you are doing that, as a part of keeping it simple, do explain the mysteries that are around your product. So what I'm saying is, keep it simple, yet explain in detail how you have done certain things, which is resulting in making their life easier, making their life better, making the pain go away. So if they understand the mechanics, it is sort of like explaining how a magic trick is done. I know it takes away the wow, but then we are not in the magic business. If we tell them, look, this is real, this is not something we are just telling you, we know this, we have sliced it, we have broken it up, and this is how we have put it back together so that you don't have the pain that you have. That will help them connect the bits and the nitty-gritties with their problem. So basically, they will understand that this is how the medicine works. And yes, it makes sense. It will take away my pain. And obviously, at the end of it, show your product. A perfect pitch will always have a lot of details about the competition. If you avoid talking about the competition, the customer is going to ask about them. So preempt that and talk about your competition. It is possible when you talk head on about a competitor, there will be things which they will have and you will not have. That's fine. You talk about it openly. Admit it. Yes, they have this. But then what they have is not relevant to you. It is not going to, it's lots of bells and whistles, which is not going to solve your problem. What we have, which they don't have, actually directly impacts your problem and reduces your problem. You must be open and you must be proactive in saying, you know what, I'm not the only player in this space. There are 5 other guys, and this is the quadrant. This is the SWOT analysis. This is where we are. This is where they are. And do it transparently. Admit when they have things that you don't have upfront, because that's when you're building trust. A customer can overlook the lack of certain features and functionalities in your product if you're upfront, because all businesses understand that everybody does not have everything. Sorry about that, guys. Everybody doesn't have everything. Nobody has everything. It will be copied though. Everybody understands that if there is a feature which is out there in a class of product, it is a matter of time before all of them has that. And then again, a new cycle of innovation will start. Some people will sort of pull ahead. Then the laggards will sort of catch up. In the meantime, one of the laggards will have a completely different twist and they will then move ahead, and so on and so forth. Talk about competition honestly, transparently, and also remember, and this is critical, also remember that in many cases, the competition is status quo. It is simpler to not look for change and sort of live with the pain because I do not know what's going to come once I opt for the change. That's a real thing. Change management, every purchase. I'll go back to Sharon Drew Morgan. Every purchase is a change management challenge. What will happen when I bring in this new product? How is it going to interact with my ecosystem? What will happen to my people who are not familiar with this? So on and so forth. Remember this and talk about it. Again, in terms of pitching, we don't have any direct competition. I mean, of course, there are products which do parts of what we do, but nothing does the entire suite of activities that PitchLink has been built for. So our primary competition is status quo. Our competition is G Drive, DocSend, Dropbox, Mail, WhatsApp, all of them put together. It is also critical to understand that a perfect pitch is built on the back of many failed pitches. As I said at the very beginning, we all are looking for a magic bullet. Gary Vee talks about this all the time, right? So he says that while you guys are looking for your magic bullet, I'm going to chip away at it. I think chipping away at it is very critical. And every learning, every failure is an opportunity to learn. Every failure. When you do a pitch and it fails, and it can fail for many reasons. It can fail for many reasons. It could have been the lack of research. It could have been your competition has already moved much further down the path of value transaction. It could be because you really don't address all the key pain points that the customer thinks is important. I mean, there can be so many. But when a project, when a pitch fails, the least you can do, and I can assure you, in my experience, 90% of the times when I failed to sell, I went back 100% of the time, but 90% of the time, this person who did not buy from me actually turned around and told me what was wrong with what I was doing. No questions. They're very happy to tell you, but you have to ask. You have to ask. If you don't ask, you have to ask for the sale. You have to ask for why you failed. Because nobody is your relative. Nobody is your uncle. They're not going to turn and say, you know what, Shubhanjan, you need to do this to improve in your life. They don't care unless you ask. When you ask, it shows two things. A, you're open to feedback. All of you who are in this webinar, I really value your coming here. Think about how many people actually you know who are really open to feedback. It's a rare commodity. Nobody wants to start giving a feedback and then start listening to defense of what they have done. Like you come and tell me, Shubhanjan, this is not working, and you hear me telling you, no, actually, it is actually supposed to be. No, I have to just keep my mouth shut and listen. If I can't do that, I have no business communicating with people. And it could be that what one is telling me is not correct. Okay, I have to take time to explain that, because after building a product for 3 years, the maturity or the clarity that I have in my head, I cannot expect somebody who's first learned about pitching 10 days back to have that clarity. It is utter nonsense. So coming back, we need to be able to ask for feedback and take the feedback and learn from those feedback. The other very critical thing here, every perfect pitch has a component of anticipating and preparing for questions, and prepare for the hard questions and rehearse the answers. Your answer to a question should be like 3 sentences. Don't open up more questions in your explanation. You answer that point succinctly, and you can do that only when you have written it down and prepared for it, judiciously. And when I say prepare, the preparation is not only about the answer. The preparation is about communication. What you are telling, is it getting through? What you are telling, is it comprehensible? Because you may deliver an answer to a question in 3 sentences. If the other person hasn't got what you said, it's of no use. So these have to be tested. So if you are putting up a presentation of your product or you are making a pitch, you should anticipate literally all the questions. And a lot of these questions will come from the failed pitches. And you must prepare succinct answers which you are supposed to test on people and get feedback on your delivery of the answer. There is no escaping from that. All of you know of Steve Jobs. You know what a great presenter he was. You would believe that he can walk up on a stage and deliver. I believe so. But before every Macworld Apple presentation, Steve Jobs used to spend 2 to 3 days rehearsing on stage everything to the minute. And if Steve Jobs had to do that, guys, all of us here, all of you there in the Facebook group, and me and Minank and all the pitch ground folks, guys, we have to do it. There is no escaping from that. So we have to rehearse, we have to prepare, and we have to anticipate and be ready with those responses as they come, because that will show the customer that you really understand what you're talking about. I mentioned this. You have to ask for feedback when you fail, and you have to ask for the sale. You can make a brilliant presentation, but if end of it you do not ask for the sale, you may not get it. Ensure that when you think that people are ready to sign, you ask for it. And finally, I want to leave you with this thought. Sometimes the perfect pitch is not pitching at all. It is about asking the right questions. It is about understanding the customer. Like I said, there will be multiple pitches before the pitch for the sale happens. So if you are pitching to understand the customer, that pitch should be you listening and the customer pitching to you about his problems and pains. How do you do that? Ask the right questions. Every pitch has an objective. Every pitch is not made with the objective of a sale. To make the perfect pitch, ensure you know what you are pitching for. Thank you very much, guys.
That was a lovely presentation, Subhanjan. There were some topics where I was like, okay, not to pitch at all. And yeah, that was indeed a lovely presentation. Guys, if you have any questions, leave us in the comments down below where we're going to answer your questions about sales pitching, about sales in general, etc. And thank you so much for leaving all the hearts. The webinar isn't over yet because we now have a product demo of PitchLink where we're going to show you how you can pitch using PitchLink, how PitchLink makes pitching really easy. And we have one question coming in from Rohit where he asks, hey Shubhankar, what role does culture/background play when pitching? Does your pitch change when dealing with different people or personalities? That's a really good question, Rohit. And let Subhanjan answer this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, see, cultural part is more about more about the soft bits of the pitching. So what kind of language will you use? Uh, what kind of words and phrases will make sense? Whether this person from this background will be used to hard sell, or I mean, very broadly, is it a Japanese kind of culture or is it an American culture, and so on. So yes, of course, I think it sort of boils down to the research that you are doing. I think, see, in the day of Rohit, in the days of LinkedIn, it is criminal to not know the customer you are pitching to. 20 years back when there was no LinkedIn, it was very difficult to find details about everybody. But today you know about everybody, what their profile is, where all they have worked. Lot of them, rather most of them, publish, share. You can just go into their activity feed and check out what kind of things they're talking about, which groups they're member of. It will give you a lot of insight. And if we are not looking at that, and if we are not crafting our narrative around those, I think that's literally that's literally criminal, in a non-criminally way, you know. Yeah, so absolutely, you should take that into account. In fact, you should take into account uh, every customer and whatever you can find about him before you make a pitch. Any other questions?
Yes, we are going through the comments right now, and people are saying, I loved this. OMG, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really,
Glad,
I really
Soumya.
appreciate that it's worth your time. Thank you very much.
I'm glad, Soumya. Any more questions, guys, before we proceed to the demo, where we're going to show you how you can pitch using PitchLink and how PitchLink makes the whole process easier for you, removing all the hassles that are there in the process of B2B selling. If there are any more questions, I see a lot of people dropping hearts. Thank you so much. John, who has joined in right now, thank you so much for joining in. You're joining at the right time, John, where we're going to show you right now in a minute how you can pitch using PitchLink. Shubhankar is going to share his screen, take you towards his dashboard, where he's going to create a sample pitch and how you can add more, slides, the more richness to your pitch using PitchLink.
So I'll temporarily just stop sharing my screen and I'll reshare it in a minute. Okay.
All right.
No, you can continue. We can continue with the question and answer.
Awesome. That's all right. That's all right. And hope the Zoom doesn't remove your camera again. Because
So my
this is
screen is
always
gone.
a thing with Zoom and Shubhanjan, where it's like whenever Shubhanjan tries to, move or try to share his screen, his webcam just goes off. And that is just so funny. It happens always. You can go to the previous webinars as well, and it always happens. Okay, so Julio asks, how do we get link in this platform? Julio, can you elaborate your question a bit? Because if you're asking about PitchLink, it's already live on PitchGround Marketplace. You can just log on to pitchground.com and check it out. But if you're asking about in-depth about PitchLink, we're going to just reveal PitchLink in a bit right now. Any questions about how to craft your perfect sales pitch? We are checking the comments in the live videos. We are receiving hearts. We are receiving wow reactions. Thank you so much, guys. And we're also checking the watch party comments as well. Come on, guys. You don't have any doubts at all. I would consider all of you guys who are watching this webinar a perfect, expert sales pitching people, because you guys have understood a lot. I mean, let's look at the comments. Okay, we got one more comment where Let me just read it. Okay. Julio says yes. Yes, Julio. The thing pitch link is live on PitchGround Marketplace. So Shubhankar, whenever you're ready, let's get into the demo real quick.
Okay, just give me a minute.
Guys, if you have any more questions, we're going to answer it later in this presentation after the demo is done, where you're going to witness how easy it is to create your own sales pitch using PitchLink. What does a series of sales messages look like?
Sorry.
What does a series of sales messages look like?
I am not sure I understand. I mean, you're talking of a message cadence, like an email cadence. Is that what he's asking?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not a expert on email automation, but if you, I mean, if you logically think about it, if you want to prime somebody to buy your product, you need to again look at it through the lens of the customer's pain point that you're solving, and in that craft a series of messages which will sort of walk them through how the pain can be managed with or without your product, but the message is being brought to them by your product. So the familiarity and trust builds. And if you see interaction happening, if they're asking you questions, they're asking you for more data and information, you know that possibly this person is willing and open to checking out options that you may be able to provide. But essentially start with what you can give them as, so if you are a product which solves X problem, give them solutions to X problem which is not linked to your product alone. So refer them to blog posts, refer them to books, refer them to webinars, refer them to YouTube videos where that problem is getting discussed, so people can relate to it. So for example, if you are selling a new diet, the pain possibly is that people are trying to lose weight or lower their blood pressure and so on. So create a series of messages which talks about these issues and point them to trustworthy, good material that you have found on the net. And over the series, you will find people will start asking you for more information. And that's when you sort of sift out the people who are really in a need today and who are open to experimenting or open to looking at new products, and you will be able to start a dialogue which might take you to a sale. I don't know whether it helped him, but that's what I'm thinking.
All right. So Julio has a question regarding PitchLink, and we're going to take it right now and show it to you live, Julio. Julio says, inside the platform, if he creates his PitchLink, how can he get the link of the created PitchLink? Shubhankar, why don't you just show it the demo right now?
Yeah. And Julio, I must tell you, you cannot get the link. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And I'll tell you in a moment why. I'll tell you in a moment why. And what you can get, that also I'll tell you. So I'll start with that.
There you go. He's lost his webcam again.
Yeah. I'm starting it again. Let's hope it comes back.
Awesome. Sumanjan.
Can you see me?
Yes, everything's fine right now. Julio, your question would be answered right now, where Sumanjan will share his screen.
So guys, I'm on my pitch. I'm in my pitch tab, as you can see here. These are my pitches, and Julio, to answer your question, I will go to analytics. So before I do that, let me show you what happens, and I'm sure you would have done that. Once you have built a pitch and you have clicked on the last button, finish and save, you get to see this button called send to prospect. So if you have not clicked that, then you will not see that. You'll only see the edit button, and you will see draft written there, which means it is not, you have not signaled that this is ready to send. So imagine that you have, it's ready to send. You'll click send to prospect. You will choose one person from your list which you have saved, or you can add a new contact, either of the two. You can add a new contact over here, which will get added to your database. And then you say done. And here you can choose expiry date. And I'm coming to your point in a moment. Expiry date for the pitch link to expire, which means if suppose you said today is 3rd of August and you set a date of 15th August, then on 16th August, he will not be able to click and see your pitch. He will be asked to get back to you for renewal. So that's a good thing, because then you see the interest is still there. You can also set it for sharing or not sharing. So if you don't want your pitch to be shared with other people, you can put this off. But we recommend that you put it on, because typically in a B2B scenario, more than one person will be involved. Then in your content, you would have saved mail drafts. All those drafts you can get from here. And if you just choose one of these, and the mail will get populated, you change the name to whatever John, and sorry, and then you hit send pitch. Now what happens when you hit send pitch is the system generates the link behind and sticks it to the mail along with the data of how many elements are there on the pitch and how long it will take. That data you can fill up, and I'll show you when I'll show you how to make the pitch. You can actually say how long it will take, and that will go to the prospect, which means you have created the pitch, you have sent the pitch with a mail, but you have not seen the link. If you go to analytics and you choose a company, you choose the pitch. So if you have sent multiple pitches to this company, all this will be listed here, and you can see the data, right? Here, you pay attention to this. You can resend the pitch here, which means everything about the pitch, including the mail and the link, everything gets resent as it is, including all your settings, that expiry date, everything. So the scenario is the customer has told you, hey Julio, you send this pitch, I have not got your mail, maybe it's lost, can you resend it to me? Hit resend pitch, it will go to him. That's number one. Number two, you can see this copy link. So sometimes your customer may say, can you share the link with me in LinkedIn or in WhatsApp or some other social media, right? Remember, this is a personal link. This tracks this person, this company, and so on. So when you copy this link, this is not the same link that has gone to him in the mail. When you say resend pitch, you don't see the link goes to him, he clicks on the link, he gets in. Here, when you send this link, when he clicks on the link, a OTP is sent to the same mail where the original pitch has been sent. And after putting in the OTP, only can he see the pitch. It's very simple. The link gives access to personal conversation in the buyer side. So at no point can the seller side have access to the buyer's original link. You will have access to the pitch for the conversation through your own link, through your own conversation apparatus, but you will not have access to the buyer's link. Minang, can you ask whether that answers this question?
Julio, does that answer your question? I hope it does. We are waiting for the comments. And guys, keep tapping those hearts because we love it. So far, guys, if you have any doubts so far, leave them in the comment section down below, because we are going through all the comments and answering all your questions individually. Julio, hope that answers your question. And Subhanjan, can you show us other features in PitchLink?
Yeah, so I'll just show you simply how to customize a pitch which you have already made. So when you have a pitch, any pitch, you can take it and you see this icon. This is the icon to duplicate a pitch. So a pitch that you have sent to X customer, now you want to send it to Y customer. So just duplicate it. And I've got a duplicate. And now I go in and edit. This is, I change the name. And I'll take this and put it as a description. So one thing I want to mention to you guys, this description is something which is purely for you. Nobody sees this description ever. This is to write in detail what you wrote, why you wrote, or something which will remind you when you want to find this later, and so on. So this is for you. This is for the customer. Okay, that is the basic info. Acha, if you're wondering about model pitch, I must tell you here that if you make this a model pitch, this pitch can't be sent. So you'll never get a send button on this. Okay. The idea is that as an organization, when you have multiple pitches going out towards multiple audiences, towards multiple verticals and so on, the organization can create multiple model pitches, which the sales folks can then duplicate exactly the way how I duplicated it, and then make the modification of the name. So put the name of the company. So taking the insurance example, one model pitch for insurance companies is made. Now you duplicate it and you say Society General or whatever, whoever you're sending it to. So now it becomes a particular pitch. So if you put this on, this pitch can never be sent. Typically, we believe that this is what the marketing department, the sales heads, the admin will create. So if you remember, we already have a ready pitch, which has a flow, which is all here. And I want to personalize it for you guys. So what I'll do is I will delete this file, which is already there. By the way, in the pitch link, all files you can just double click and you can see here. Hello, Ivo. It was great catching up today and I'm looking forward to. Yeah. So you can basically review all the files by double clicking them, right? Okay. The other thing is, when you are creating, this is where you create the pitch. This is where you add files to your narrative, right? This is the flow. Now, all your content is available right here. I can choose content from folders. I can choose content from past pitches. For example, I've already sent out a pitch, which is not this pitch, but I know that there is a testimonial in that pitch which I want to bring, or there is a particular file I have used that I want to bring in here. So I click on that and all the files in that pitch will be shown to me here. Okay. And I'll also get a small preview right here. Anyway, so I will now dump this and I'm going to create a new intro. So as you can see, I clicked on this context bridge. Just I'll show you again. I clicked on context bridge. So what is a context bridge? Why do we call it a context bridge? Context bridge you can create from within a pitch flow, or you can create it in the file section. So once I get out of it, I'll show you where it is. It's very simple. Straight away you say create and you get the same options. We call this context bridge because when we imagine pitch link, the idea was that what do we do face to face? We tell something, set up a context, and then show up PowerPoint. And then we talk about something else, then we show them a demo. Then we talk about something else, and then show a ROI calculation and so on. So Context bridge does exactly the same. So in between the files, I can insert context bridges. I click on context bridge. I can choose video, audio, or text. I choose video, and I can select a script. So this is a note which was there in the pitch here. So just so that you see, there is a note here, welcome, introduction, brief, and all that. So that is coming visible to me right here when I'm opening up the interface. And I can select a script. So I'll say PG intro. So hello pitch ground friends, so on and so forth. I can hit start recording. Now what you see here is that my script has loaded. This is our inbuilt teleprompter. This is where you control the speed. I like to keep it a little low. And I say record. So only difference is you will not be able to see my face looking at the camera because my camera is on a different monitor. And I'm going to look towards this side to record.
Just for
So
the sake
bear with
of
me on
this
that one.
webinar, guys, just for the sake of this webinar. Otherwise, you can place your camera right in front and then just look at it.
So
and
imagine that
just stop.
this monitor has the script, has the camera on top. I hit record. Hello, Bridgeground friends. Before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges your sales organization face, I wanted to mention that the complexity of modern B2B sales is compounded by the fact that there has been a major shift of initiative from the seller to the buyer. Hello, Bridgeground friends. Before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges your sales organization face, so what you saw happened was I recorded it. The teleprompter scrolled the text, so I don't have to fiddle with anything. And it has also recorded it as take one. That means I can do multiple takes till I'm happy. So I can do a retake. And I'll reduce it slightly more.
And then I can say take two action. I can be a director. And
You can be.
Subhajan, are you ready?
I'm ready, yes.
Okay, so take two, action.
Hello, Pitchkin friends. Sorry, that was a bad one. Hello, Pitchkin friends.
Retake.
Retake.
All right, we're going to do a retake again.
Okay,
So,
go.
Take three, or technically take two, action.
Hello, Pitchground friends. Before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges your sales organization face, I wanted to mention that the complexity of modern B2B sales is compounded by the fact that there has been a major shift of initiative from the seller to the buyer. Hello, Pitchground friends. Before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges your sales organization face, I wanted to mention that the complexity of modern B2B sales is compounded by the fact that there has been a major shift of initiative from the seller to the buyer. I think I like this take. I'm going to save this. So I hit save and close. And I just say,
the director also likes the take. We're done.
Yeah, so the moment you finish the take and you stop the take, it will automatically play you back. So by the way, if I just now, before saving, if I want to check, I can just go there. Hello, Pitchground friends. Before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges. Hello, Pitchground friends. Yeah. So I think I'm clear. Hello, Pitchground friends. Yeah, this is the one I want to save. I go in and I say PG demo intro. I'll be a little lazy and copy this and paste this in the description. I can say PG as a tag, intro as a tag, demo as a tag, and I say save. Now, this will take a couple of minutes. So guys, don't rush when you're recording it. It goes up, it gets coded and it comes back. It takes a few minutes, but it will happen. So it will generate the thumbnail. It will come in here. You can double click, you can see it and so on. So now you saw it took me like a couple of minutes to do this. I can do the same thing for the conclusion. I can go into the context bridge. I can record it again, audio. I can do audio recording and so on. Audio recording also is pretty similar. So this is the script. which I think I can use. So let's do a audio recording. Thank you. I'm truly grateful for you sparing the time to look at the PitchLink overview. As the world moves to interruption-free asynchronous communication and transaction process, PitchLink aims to be the trusted platform for buyers and sellers to engage in conversations. To continue our conversation, we both need to keep track of this link only, free from our overloaded inbox. Thank you once again. Thank you. I'm truly grateful for you sparing the time to look at the PitchLink overview. As the world moves to interruption-free asynchronous. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'll say 7 close. I'll say wrap demo. And I'll say the same. I'll say wrap. And I'll say demo. And let's say save. For some unknown reason, audio takes longer to upload in our system than video. So don't be worried if you see that. Okay, that's done. So it's all done. I will move to the next phase. So what you saw was I took an existing pitch. I customized it for a new client. I've done an intro which is personal. I've done an outro which is personal. And by the way, if I wanted to drop something from here, add something here, I could have done that very easily. Okay. For example, I will delete this whole thing totally. It's gone. And I'm going to add something here. Okay. I want to bring in a new PDF. Yeah, it will be in documents. I'll bring in this.
Directly swoosh it to the number 4 and voila.
Yeah, it's done. Okay, that's it. So I've got a new pitch, guys, and it's all over, all done. And I'll go to next. This is where you add documents to resources. So resource is additional document that you don't want as a part of the story. The pitch flow is the story where you are basically setting up the context for a prospect to engage with you, to buy your product, to understand your value proposition and so on. This is supporting technical documents, specifications, customer testimonials, what have you. So this already has a video. I'm thinking that I'll delete this altogether. I'll not keep it here. I'll see what is there in company. There is a document. I will add one more folder called case studies. By the way, these are all folders you will create in your content section, but if you want to create something on the fly, so I want to create a folder called pitch ground. I write it and I hit this and I've created the folder called pitch ground. Okay, and now in this folder I'm going to drag and drop some stuff. I will also delete case studies because I'm not putting anything there. I will look at some images. Let me take this. Yeah, this looks like the one I want. I drag and drop it here, and there it is. So I've added resources, and I move on to the next. This is where I add feedback form. This is the existing feedback form which was there in the pitch that I duplicated, but I don't want to put this one, which is this feedback form. I want to put a shorter one, which is this one. And by the way, again, in content, you can go select forms and build as many forms as you want, depending on what the customer is, what kind of questions you want to ask. So this is basically the idea is that in a face-to-face, you would have asked some questions and got some answers. But obviously this is happening asynchronous, so you are not there. But if your narrative made sense, this form will pop up the moment your pitch ends. And that's where it's going to go. So I can review the form. This looks fine. And I say done. This is where you can preview the pitch you just built. You can add the timer. This is manual right now. Going forward, we'll automate most of it. So say it's a pretty long pitch. I think it'll be about 12 minutes. And I can hit finish and save, which means I'll get that send the pitch button. But before that, I want to do a preview. So it opens up in a different tab. This is the pitch ground demo on 3rd August. This is the video. Friends, before we talk about the numerous transactional challenges your sales organization face, I wanted to mention that the complexity of modern B2B sales is compounded by the fact that there has been a major shift of initiative from the seller to the buyer. So if there is an audio or video, it automatically loads the next element. If there is a document, the customer has to click on the next element, right? So it automatically ends. And you saw that video which I recorded. Now it is processed and it is showing me already over here. Let us go to the last element. Thank you. I'm truly grateful for you sparing the time to look at the PitchLink overview. As the world moves to interruption-free asynchronous communication and transaction process, PitchLink aims to be the trusted platform for buyers and sellers to engage in conversations. To continue our conversation, we both need to keep track of this link only, free from our overloaded inbox. Thank you once again. So that's over. I can click on this. I can check the form that I have added. I can click on resource. You remember I added one document there. It was in the company. It was already there. It is loading here. I can review it. It's loading. I can go to the pitch ground file folder. So all the folders will be listed there. This is the image I had loaded. It's all here. I hit exit and I'm done. And I can exit from here. I'm back. I say finish and save. And now I have this request for your feedback pitch ground demo 3rd August pitch link ready to be sent. I can click on send to prospect. I had shown this interface earlier. I can add prospect. I can add a new prospect. I can do any which way. And I hit send pitch and it goes out. It's as simple as that. Okay. I wanted to show you where you can do the context bridges apart from within the interface. This is the content repository. There is a sub menu. If you click on that, you will see the folders, files, links, forms. This is where you create the forms, mail drafts, pitch maps, scripts, testimonials, and discovery. Discovery is our Chrome extension. If you click there, you'll get a link where you can go and do research. This is the file page. I can hit create here and I can get the same options, video, audio, text. As you can see, I can go in the same interface. I can even write a fresh script and save it from here.
Awesome.
Okay. So that's it, guys, for today. I think it will help you get going. And I'm really, truly grateful that you spent so much time with me. And any questions, if you have, I'll be happy to answer.
As we come to this end of this presentation, guys, while Shubhankar sips his water, leave your questions below. That's right. I'm looking at all your comments from the watch party, from the live video. Leave your questions below and we are happy to answer any question that you have regarding the sales pitch, regarding the PitchLink product. And by the way, it's live. You can go check it out on PitchGround Marketplace. That is pitchground.com/product/PitchLink. Feel free to reach out if you have any trouble buying it. Guys, we're always here. So we are waiting for your questions regarding PitchLink, regarding the plans, regarding any other, sales related question as well. So let's wait. So Julio says, thank you for the presentation and he has understood it.
Good. Thank you, Julio. And feel free to reach out anytime. We are all here. We understand it's not a usual software that you have seen or used. So there will be a little bit of a learning curve and we will try to smoothen it as much as we can, as fast as we can. So that's my promise to you. Let us know. Thank you very much.
So let's wait for some more comments, guys. If you're not commenting, keep tapping in those hearts because we love it. So there you saw our presentation where we have shown how you can make your own pitch link, about how you can send your own pitch link to your prospect, about the files that you can add, the audio processing, the video, etc. So far, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment down below, or if you have any questions later on, feel free to reach out to us at Team Pitch Ground or Team Pitch Link, and we are answering your questions. We are getting a lot of hearts, a lot of likes. Thank you so much. And guys, if you're not having any questions, you can check out the product at the PitchGround Marketplace. And we'll be ending this webinar in 1 minute based on your questions. You can always reach out to us. And if you want to watch the previous webinars, you can go check it out on our Facebook page by just scrolling down below. And if you have missed this webinar, and if you joined late to this webinar, you can always check it out on PitchGround Facebook page and on PitchGround website under Pitch Link product. We have a video tab where we list out all your videos, all the tabs, etc. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention that you can all sign up for a free trial. And once you sign up on your dashboard, you will be able to see a place where you can, let me just show it to you. Yeah, this is the dashboard you will possibly have when you sign up, and you'll see this book a one-on-one demo. Okay, so if you go there, it will take you to my calendar, and I do like 5 or 6 slots every day, and mostly it'll be available within 1 or 2 days. If you're lucky, you might get it in the next day itself. So just do that, so that if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to engage with you one-on-one and show you around.
Yes, guys, you can book your one-on-one demo with Subhanjan, and he's more than happy to explain the product to you. And we're coming up with more webinars as well of PitchLink, about other products, and about our affiliate marketing webinar. It's a surprise webinar which we are having in just day after tomorrow, that is Wednesday. Guys, if you have any questions, this is the time, or else we'll have to say good night, because this is India and it's around 8:45 p.m. here. And if you're joining in from the US, it would probably be around 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. And I guess, Subhanjan, that's it, because
Okay.
yes, people are liking the webinar, and yes, Subhanjan,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining to the PitchGround webinar, where you have learned about how to craft your perfect sales pitch along with the product demo of PitchLink. All the webinars will be live on our Facebook page on the Pitch Link. This is just like, PitchGround PitchLink. I just kind of a tongue twister for me, at least. So you can find the webinars on the PitchGround landing page of PitchLink under
Well
the
done.
video section. You can just go check it out, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you in our future webinars as well. Thank you so much, guys. It was lovely.
So Minank, I just want to take the opportunity to thank each and everyone who was here today. I really appreciate your time, your indulgence, and please feel free to engage, to ask, and we'll be very happy to help you with the product, or even just talk about your sales related challenges. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day wherever you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, the live has been ended on Facebook.
Okay, ठीक है.
And the recording also has